So now we're talking about problem 8, and one of the questions is, if all these cases, all those 2.6 billion cases of water, were lined up end to end at the equator, how many times would they go around the Earth? So first of all, what they mean by lined up end to end is just putting the cases together lengthwise end to end. So just pretend these blocks represent a single case. Okay? And then what we want you to think about now, think of this ribbon as all of those cases stacked end to end, attached somehow. And so we want to know, and here's our little Earth. We want to know how many times these cases would wrap around the Earth at the equator if we were to keep stacking them end to end and keep going around the Earth doing that. How many times would it do that? And so what we did was we measured the circumference of our little Earth, and we measured our ribbon, or our cases, all stacked end to end. The distance around, or the circumference around our little Earth is actually 8 inches, and then the length of our ribbon is 32 inches. So now that you know that, calculate how many times would this ribbon go around the Earth.
All right, so we just wanted to talk for a second about perimeter. So I have this idea of farmer 1, farmer 2, and farmer 3. So they have property that is right up against each other. So when we talk about perimeter, we're talking about sort of around the property. So when farmer 1 thinks about the perimeter of his property, let's get it in red, it includes the border with farmer 2, right? So when you look at this, when the farmer 1 is measuring the distance around his property, he's including his border with farmer 2 as well as this other stuff, right? So he's measuring all this stuff. Whereas when we come from the perspective of farmer 2, who also wants to measure the distance around his property, he's also measuring his property here, his border with farmer 3, and so on, right? So we would also say that farmer 3 is measuring and counting this twice as well. But then farmer 1 decides to buy out farmer 2 and farmer 3. So they move away. And then now farmer 1 has one big farm. So how is farmer 1 going to measure his perimeter now all the way around? Is he going to measure this distance in here? Instead, he has one big farm now. Okay? So he's looking at this length and this width.
And the reason we're explaining that is because oftentimes students will figure out the perimeter of one water case and then multiply it by the total number of water cases, which is 2.6 billion.
Right.
And the reason that's a mistake is because they are measuring, if you could point to it, these
lines.
Yeah, these lines in between.
That are shared, yeah.